Don't forget that this tutorial is part of a series of tutorials which you can access on our YouTube playlist, or alternatively, if you would like to, you can purchase the whole course on Udemy. There should be a link to the YouTube playlist and a link to our Udemy course, which should always provide the best price in the video description. Okay, so let's talk on delete options in models. Now, this is something which you will need to have a look through the documentation, read through each option to give yourself a better understanding of each option. I didn't want to make a tutorial going through each option, but I will take you through some of the general thought processes and some of the general options that you would tend to gravitate to when developing a simple set of models. Now, you will find this information in the Django documentation model field reference. So if you start with Google, just type in model field reference, it will take you to this page. Scroll down or just search for foreign key.onDelete. That will then take you to the onDelete arguments and you can start reading through. Now, you can see here the list, so Cascade being at the top here, protect, restrict. So those are probably three of the more popular settings. I've already described Cascade. As I mentioned, if we were to have a one-to-many relationship between product line and product, if, for example, we were to delete the product table shoe 1, and that was related to multiple products in the product line, it would mean that all the product line data would also get deleted. If you remember, we have a relationship between product line and product table. The foreign key is in the product line table. Now, that means that if we delete any of the products in the product table that's related to any data in the product line table, the product line data will get deleted too. So in this case, if this shoe 1 was related to 3 records here in the product line table, when we delete shoe 1, the product line data will get deleted. Now, this doesn't work the other way around, of course, so we can delete individual product lines and it won't affect the product table. The benefit of using Cascade, of course, is that we don't end up with what we might call orphaned or dangling records that don't really have any connectivity to any of the products in the product table, and therefore the product line data would be pretty useless. Because remember, there is a dependency here. So this is just part of the data in the product line. There is more data about that product in the product line table. So Cascade would ensure that it tidies up our data. It would uphold data integrity within our database. So there are plenty of reasons why you might not want to enforce that type of behavior. So for instances where you don't necessarily want data to be deleted, maybe there's a different option. Maybe you disable it within the database. Maybe you've got some sort of Boolean option just to disable the product instead of deleting it. So here you can set the foreign keys to onDelete as protect or potentially restrict. So although I'm not necessarily going into massive detail here because the documentation here is in place, you can have a read through. The first option is Cascade. So the first option is to think about, well, do I just want to delete the data when the parent data in the foreign key relationship is deleted? So that's the first option. And then the second option to think about is, would I prefer to protect the data from being deleted? So we have protect and restrict for that. So it works slightly differently. And then the third option is to think about replacing the foreign key value. So allowing then to actually delete the product table data, but thinking about, okay, I want to keep the product line, but how can I then work with the foreign key field at that point? So we do have the option of setting it to null. So we can set the foreign key to null potentially, or else there may be occasions where we have some default values. Again, so when we delete the product table product, which is connected to product lines, we might want to set the default value of the product line foreign key to some sort of default, which we can then associate the product lines to. There are some more advanced options, set and do nothing. But generally, you'll probably be sitting within the first two categories. You'll ask yourself, do I simply want to cascade and lose data? Generally, that's never a good idea, removing data. Or do I want to protect and restrict and think about managing that data differently within my database and system?